Why do men have to be so macho? Do you think you found the answer now?
Well, men are like the jailer and the prisoner at the same time, and so they all look at each other constantly and at themselves to make sure they don't sort of step out of proper male behaviour. It's very tightly policed, being a man. And, you know, when you become a man or you become an adolescent, particularly 14-year-old boys, you look at the way they sort of patrol each other, and if they step out of line, you know, they've touched almost an invisible electric fence that says sissy, you know, and it's very tightly controlled. And they're very aware, because they want very clear rules, particularly when they're young. And I think that, you know, men, there's this horrible sort of dissonance between this sort of idealised men that they all got inside their heads that's sort of telling them how to behave and how they want to be normally.
Do you think a lot of, in your experience now of doing the documentary series, do you think a lot of them are pretending? A lot of them, more than we would imagine, don't want to be macho and would like to show more vulnerability?
I think pretending is a sort of harsh word almost. I think what it is that we all perform our gender, and you're kind of like, you take on board all the conditioning that make, you know, we all have that. And I think for some men it's a bad fit, and they're kind of feeling that they have to puff up to do this thing. And I look at some men sometimes, I think, you know, do you really want to carry that stuff about with you? It's not working for you. Now, some men, it's like masculinity is like woodwork. Some people, it's essential, they're good at it. Some people, it's a nice hobby. And other people, they don't need it at all. You know?
I watched tonight's film, and I thought it was really moving, and I thought there was a point in it when you were nearly in tears, because you're filming these tough guys in the northeast who are cage fighters, and you just go a little bit beneath the surface and you find out that the suicide rate in the northeast is huge, and 80% of the suicides are men. And it's the biggest killer of people, the biggest suicide and men. Sorry, I'm getting all tangled up with my statistics here, but suicides is a huge killer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because men bottle it up, because they are told, you know, we bring boys up as sort of pretending that they have very simple emotions, but of course they're as emotionally complex as women. It's just that they're not encouraged to, they're not given the vocabulary to talk about their feelings, and so they're almost numbed from their bond. They don't even know that they're sad when they're sad, and so when, you know, they bottle it up. And often the people, you know, when you hear in the programme, it's a very moving interview with a mother whose son committed suicide. You know, she said, "We never thought he would be the one, the last person in the world." And that is, they are always the one, the life and soul of the party. They're the ones almost you've got to watch, because they're not. They're not saying they're sad or lonely or whatever.
Yeah, one of our own.
You know what? When they're very young, like 8 and 9 year old. I mean, I've got a 9-year-old grandson, and I can see such aggression in him, and his fellows, you know, at school, and you think, why? What is that aggression? He comes home and he's even more aggressive.
It's allowed. That's the one sort of feeling.
But how do they get out of that aggression? Does that go into puberty?
I think you've got to give boys, you know, the chance to express the whole range of feelings, because, you know, we all have a very controlled language around emotion. I mean, when we say people, oh, he was very emotional, what do you mean? He was crying. But actually we all have emotions all the time, which are anger and sadness and joy. And so we've got to, you know, develop boys so they have a vocabulary for it, and they practice, you know.
Well, even Syra, you said this morning, didn't you?
Yes.
You sometimes go, oh, stop crying to her son.
I've got a little boy, he's very... I mean, he's sensitive and he cries, and I think he's actually quite in touch with his emotions, but, you know, when he cries a bit too much, I say, oh, Zach, come on, just man up. And I didn't realise until I sort of read all about this, I thought, my goodness, I'm actually imposing a cultural kind of behaviour on him that could really damage him long term. I didn't realise that.
The conditioning that we put children through, both sexes and genders, is very strong and unconscious a lot of the time. And even nowadays, now that women know the gender of their child, the sex of their child, should I say, before it's born, you're already spying things for it and saying, oh, he's going to be a big boy, you know, you're buying his season ticket for the football club before he's popped out of the womb.
So what should we be doing then as parents? I mean, I guess it starts with parenting, doesn't it? What should we be doing?
I think what I've tried to do with this programme and start a conversation is about awareness. You know, be aware of all the tiny unconscious things that we all do all the time that kind of reinforce gender, and the more we can be aware of them, the more we can decide whether that's appropriate or not. I mean, I'm not saying that being masculine, you know, we had this joke with Bear Grylls, you know,
well, you got yourself in a bit of hot water with that, because people took it...
It's a perfect publicity moment, you know?
You're kind of saying that.
I agree with you about Bear Grylls, because I'm not sure I want all men to be macho men climbing mountains with their woggles out or whatever. I do.
But isn't that
a
but
joke.
isn't that
I mean,
just...
A lot of women say, oh, I'd really love a macho man. And I would say, really? You know, what you want is maybe a macho man in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But would you want him sort of like when it comes to sharing childcare or kind of, you know, general life, it'd be a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
But it might be fun in the bedroom.
But don't they say men take sex, you know, that they put too much kind of store on sex in a relationship? That
Who?
Men.
Men do, yes. And it's very interesting in that that's why there's the sort of expression, I don't know if you've heard it, it's called lesbian bed death.
No, never heard that.
Tell us about
Never.
Well, it's because women prioritise good relationships, so therefore lesbians tend to kind of search out a woman who's like themselves, so they have a good relationship. Whereas men prioritise sex, so therefore they're very aware that sex is a power relationship quite a lot of the time, so they look for someone who's different from themselves. And I had a friend, he said, if I was going out with a gay friend of his, he said, if I'm going out with a posh guy, I used to say I came from Kilburn. If I was going out with a working class bloke, I said I came from West Hampstead. There was always an imbalance of power there, because that spiced up the sex a bit. And I think that you know, that's why men, you know, they prioritise sex, so therefore they're more likely to want an unequal relationship because that power excites them.
We haven't got much time left, but having done this programme, and obviously we know you know, will put dresses on. The last time you came here, I think you came as Claire. Have you found anything out about yourself doing this show?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty macho in many ways. You know, you put me on a mountain bike or on a motorbike, you know, I'm a typical man.
You came on your motorbike today, I think.
I came on my push bike today.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, yeah, no, I'm quite happy to admit that I've got many of the classic male traits. But I think that you know you can be aware of them, and they've got their place. You know, I'm not saying that we've got to do away with but it's just that masculinity, a lot of it is just not working today.
Click here to watch more interviews with a whole range of famous faces. And click here to subscribe. It's free, so you'd be silly not to, really. When do you decide, Grayson, or how do you decide what days you want to dress
I tend to dress up when other people dress up.